So when I am looking at a menu and I'm trying to decide what to get, um, I first of all, my appetite is a bit of a struggle. So it's got to be something that I really like. That's what I'm going to get. I'm not going to order a salad because I feel like I should, or I'm not going to order something that I'm going to struggle to eat or not really like. I'm going to get what looks good to me. All right, so here's my plate. I've got my grilled tuna. I've got some kind of like roasted cubed potatoes, green beans. Um, I'm not going to, if I don't really like it, I'm not going to touch it. So if I'm in a restaurant and I just kind of had to pick a side or it's with a side I don't really like, I'm just not going to eat it. I don't eat like veggies or anything like because I think I should, if that makes sense. I'm only going to eat what I really like, and I don't do it. I don't kind of compartmentalize it, if that makes sense. I'll just have it. I'll have a bite of tuna with potatoes and green beans all in one bite. And so I'll kind of eat all of it until I'm either bored or just not feeling hungry or just, but I'll eat it consistently, if that makes sense. When I go to a restaurant, when I'm looking at a menu, basically I'm just looking for what looks good to me, not what should I eat, just what do I want? And that's what I order. I don't, yeah. Most of the time, if I want pizza, I'm going to get pizza. I'm usually going to get what I want. However, occasionally I will get a salad, even if, I'm craving something else more because, I know I haven't been eating a lot of veggies lately. I've been eating kind of too much garbage. And, once I even think about that, the thought of eating the pizza it really kind of makes me feel gross, if that makes sense. Like, then I almost genuinely want the salad more than the pizza because I hate the way I feel after the pizza if I've piled it on top of, several days of not eating well. Sometimes I will order like a side salad or a salad, and knowing that I'm going to eat maybe a little bit of my kids or Keith or whatever, if they got pizza or something. So, I get the salad for me. I eat most of the salad, but I'll have a few bites of what they have just to kind of, satisfy that craving maybe. Yeah, sometimes, I do get asked, how do you stay so thin? Or I'll be out to eat and I'm ordering dessert and they're like, what, do you work out constantly? No, I eat small portions, and over the course of a day, I just don't eat a ton of food. I eat exactly what I want. But I find that when I'm eating what I want, it makes me less hungry, if that makes sense. It just satisfies, my appetite, cravings, whatever. So I, within reason, eat whatever I want. I mean, and I naturally crave, the more and more I learn about health and nutrition, I naturally crave things that I know are good for me. That's not to say I don't eat junk. I do. And I like junk, but it just doesn't feel as good when I have that information that I can't forget, if that makes sense. But my biggest thing, and it has always been, I don't eat a lot. Keith will joke, you've probably heard him say this, like, we'll be driving down the road on a trip and Kim's like, I'm starving, I have to eat something. And then we stop and she eats 3 bites and she's like, okay, I'm good, I'm full. But I don't eat a lot. So I think that's the biggest part for me. But yeah, if I want dessert, I'm going to eat dessert. Yeah, I know that the Okinawans eat to when they're about 80% full. And, there's stuff like that out there. For me, it's more I eat until I don't feel hungry anymore. So it's not about feeling full. I don't like feeling full. Like, the feeling of being full kind of makes me uncomfortable. So I'll just eat until I don't feel hungry anymore. I usually don't eat if I'm not hungry. Um, and once I'm not feeling hungry, I'll stop eating. But it has nothing to do with full. And I do that knowing that I'm going to eat again. Like I graze. You know, I don't eat like 3 big meals a day and that's it. Like I'm a grazer, so I know that I'm, you know, in a couple hours probably going to have a snack. So there's not this sense that like, oh, I have to fill up because I'm not eating again till tomorrow or for 5 or 6 hours or whatever. It's just, I just eat till I'm not hungry, knowing when I get hungry again, I can have a snack. So if I was going to look at my stomach as a gas tank, I would say generally I eat to, I would say about 75% full. If I am out to eat at a restaurant, I'm more likely to eat, well, I'm more likely to eat dessert for one. So in my mind, I'm saving room for that. So, but all in all, walking away from the meal, I'm probably 85%, maybe 90% full if I'm out to eat. When I'm at home, I would say it's about 70% full. Yeah. Again, knowing, especially at home, like I can turn around and have a snack. Yeah. I don't really pay attention to the clock in terms of, no, I don't want to eat past this time. Maybe I should. I just, if I'm hungry, I'll eat a little bit. Normally, I don't eat my first meal till about noon or 1 o'clock. Some days I always have coffee when I wake up with cream, always. Some days I'm fine making it till 1. Other days I start to get hungry before then, and if I know, like if I'm going out to lunch or something, I know I'm going to be eating at 1, eating a meal. I'll munch on dry cereal, like Cracklin Oat Bran or something that has fiber. I try to. I might eat an apple. I might have a second cup of coffee. Normally my go-to drinks, like hunger drinks, would be either coffee with cream or ice water. And I really like crunching ice, which drives my family insane. But that definitely helps if I'm hungry. Yeah, trying to think any other, just like maybe some like whole grain crackers. You know, those crackers they have that are made out of like, you know, they don't have wheat or anything in them. They're gluten free. I keep a bag of those in my car. And sometimes I'll just eat like 10 of them if I'm really hungry. And I try to make sure it's like a whole food, if that makes sense. So not that Cracklin Oat Bran is a whole food by any means, or just has some kind of like substance to it. So whole grains or a fruit. Yeah, that's typically and that's just kind of what I crave anyway. Like if I haven't eaten in a while, I don't want a bag of chips. I'll eat a bag of chips if there's nothing else. Like I'm at a tournament and that's it. But I generally crave something with a little more substance. If I get on the scale, I've gained a couple pounds and I'm like, okay, I need to rein it in a little bit. Typically I'm going to cut back on sweets, like dessert, or like just munching at night. I'm also just going to focus on more whole grains. Like I don't pay attention to carbs in terms of trying to limit them. I just pay attention to the quality of them, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'll just make sure what I'm eating is actually fueling my body and cut back on sweets a little bit. Not totally, just like a little. If I'm going to drink my calories, again, aside from coffee, it's going to be a smoothie. And that's not going to be in addition to a sandwich or, you know, something else. That the smoothie will be my meal. I have smoothies a lot for lunch, actually. And I can throw tons of like, you know, spinach and chia seeds and flax seed. I normally do like almond milk, coconut milk combo. for the liquid and just frozen fruit. Sometimes I will do, probably the most caloric thing I put in there is I'll throw some peanut butter or almond butter in them sometimes, but they're filling. So, but that would be the meal. Yeah. As far as protein goes, I don't focus on it at all. I just generally, I eat a fairly balanced diet, so I just kind of assume I'm getting plenty of protein. So I really don't, I don't think about it. I don't focus on it. In terms of how long it takes to eat a meal, I don't eat especially slowly or fast. I mean, I would just say average. I don't really think about it, honestly. It's not going to take me long though, because I don't eat a lot. It just doesn't, it doesn't take that long, but I mean, I certainly don't scarf it down either. So it depends on the meal. Obviously, like if I'm out to a restaurant, it's going to take longer because I'm going to eat a little bit more. If I'm at home, it's between 5 and 10 minutes probably. Or if it's in the case of like the smoothie for lunch, I'm drinking that as I'm doing other things. So I don't sit down and drink it, you know. So that's kind of hard to gauge. It's spread out. When I start eating my lunch, I try to eat when I'm about a 2, because the longer I go, the harder it is for me to actually feel satisfied when I do eat. You know, I'll start to get headaches and stuff. And so I try to eat when I am hungry, but not out of control hungry. And I would say for dinner, I'm generally between a 1 and a 2, just because the nature of what's going on that time of the day. It's easier for me around lunchtime to grab food than it is, you know, in the hours before dinner time. So I'm typically a little bit hungrier, but in general, I try to eat before I'm starving, you know, because then I'll just eat more. It's harder to, you know, I'm just hungrier throughout the day the longer I wait. So, I mean, generally when I wake up in the morning, I'm at a 1, approaching a 0. So coffee with cream helps tremendously. And that's kind of my go-to in the morning. And that keeps me till midday. When I try not to let the hunger go too far. You know, the hungrier I get, the less likely I am to make good choices about what I do eat. You know, maybe I'll just end up grabbing the first thing I see, a bag of chips, and eating, you know, too much of it. And then I feel like garbage. And so I try when I'm at about a 2 to eat my first meal. And then later on, closer to dinner, I'm, you know, probably going to be between a 1 and a 2 before I eat. But in general, I try to eat before I get out of control hungry.